Hello and welcome to Love Notes, the Relationship Goals series, the podcast where we explore the intricate, beautiful, and sometimes confusing world of the human heart. I'm your host, Chris, and as always, I'm joined by the wonderfully insightful Georgia.
Hi, Chris. So happy to be here and dive into today's topic.
And it's a big one. Today, we're navigating the modern dating landscape, talking about everything from committed relationships to that gray area we've all heard of and maybe even experienced, the situationship. We'll explore what it all means and how to cultivate a healthy love life no matter the label.
It's such a relevant conversation. The rules of dating have changed so much, and this idea of being in something that isn't quite a relationship is more common than ever.
Exactly. So let's start there. Georgia, how would you define a situationship for anyone who might be unfamiliar with the term?
To me, it's essentially a romantic or sexual connection that exists in a space of ambiguity. You're more than friends, you spend time together, there are feelings involved, but there's no explicit commitment or label. You're not boyfriend or girlfriend.
Right, no label. And critically, I think, no discussion about the future. You're in a holding pattern, enjoying the present connection without defining where it's going.
That's the key part, the lack of forward momentum. So, why do you think we're seeing so much of this now, Chris?
I think it's a mix of things. For one, dating apps give us a paradox of choice. There's a feeling that someone better might just be a swipe away, which can make it hard to commit to one person.
The illusion of infinite options.
And there's also a genuine fear of vulnerability. Putting a label on something means opening yourself up to potential heartbreak. A situationship can feel like a safety net. If it ends, you can tell yourself, well, we were never official anyway.
That's so true. It's a form of emotional self-protection. Plus, I think people are also more focused on their careers and personal growth than ever before. Sometimes a full-blown relationship feels like too much of a time and energy commitment. So this in-between space feels more manageable.
It does. And let's be fair, they aren't always a bad thing. There can be some positives, right?
Of course, if both people are genuinely on the same page and want something casual, it can be great. It offers freedom, flexibility, and a chance to explore a connection without the immediate pressure of long-term expectations. You can simply enjoy each other's company.
Yeah. The key phrase there is if both people are on the same page. And that's where the problem usually starts.
Exactly. The lack of communication is the dark side of the situationship. It creates a vacuum where anxiety and resentment can grow. One person almost always develops stronger feelings.
And then they're stuck. They're afraid to voice their needs because it might scare the other person away and end the connection altogether. So they stay quiet, hoping things will magically change.
Right. And that ambiguity can be so damaging to your self-esteem. You start wondering, am I not good enough for a real commitment? It's a really painful place to be.
I had a friend who was in a situationship for almost a year. He was doing all the boyfriend things, meeting her friends, going on weekend trips, being her emotional support. But when he tried to ask, "What are we?" she would shut down.
That's so tough.
It ended up really hurting him because he'd invested so much, only to find out she was never going to be ready for something more. He felt like he'd wasted a year of his emotional energy.
And that's the risk you run. The temporary comfort of the connection can come at the long-term cost of your emotional well-being and your time.
So this brings us to the million-dollar question. If you find yourself in a situationship and you want more, how do you navigate that? How do you try to turn it into a defined relationship?
I think the very first step has nothing to do with the other person. It starts with you. You have to get brutally honest with yourself. What do I actually want? And am I willing to walk away if I can't get it here?
That's the foundation, knowing your own worth and your own non-negotiables before you even start the conversation.
Exactly. Once you're clear on that, then it's time for the DTR, or define the relationship talk. And I know that sounds terrifying to a lot of people.
It is. It feels like this huge, high-stakes moment, but it doesn't have to be an ultimatum.
No, not at all. You can approach it gently. Pick a calm, neutral time, not after a fight or in the middle of a tense moment. You can start by expressing how much you enjoy spending time with them.
Yeah, lead with the positive. Something like, I've really loved getting to know you these past few months, and I'm starting to develop deeper feelings. I wanted to check in and see where you're at with us.
That's a perfect way to phrase it. It's not accusatory, it's using I statements, focusing on your feelings and asking a genuine question rather than making a demand.
And then comes the hardest part, being prepared for their answer, whatever it may be.
They might be thrilled and say they feel the same way, or they might say they're not ready for a commitment or don't want the same things. And if that's the case, their honesty is a gift, even if it hurts.
A gift of clarity. It frees you from uncertainty and allows you to move forward and find someone who can give you what you want and deserve. Sticking around hoping they'll change is a recipe for prolonged pain.
Totally. You can't build a relationship on the potential of who someone might be one day. You have to accept who they are right now.
Oh, absolutely. Communication is the engine of a relationship. When it breaks down, the whole car just sputters to a stop, usually on the side of a highway. Metaphorically speaking, of course.
And usually that metaphorical rainstorm starts because someone left the metaphorical cap off the toothpaste, or they loaded the dishwasher in a way that can only be described as chaotic evil.
I feel seen. The dishwasher thing is a legitimate source of international conflict. I'm convinced it's been on the UN's agenda. It's the perfect example of how something tiny can represent something so much bigger. It's not about the forks being upside down. It's about feeling like your partner doesn't listen or respect your very correct and logical system.
Exactly. And it's about choosing your battles. My partner and I have a system now. We ask on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you care about this? 1 is, I have a mild preference, and 10 is, if you do it the other way, I will question all of our life choices together.
That's the perfect transition, actually, because once you move past the ambiguity of a situationship and into a defined, committed relationship, the work doesn't stop. In fact, that's where it truly begins. And the bedrock of all of that work is communication. This all ties back to the broader idea of maintaining a healthy love life in general, whether you're single, dating, or in a long-term partnership.
It really does. The foundational principles are the same. It starts with clear, honest communication. You have to be able to voice your needs, your fears, and your desires.
And mutual respect. Respecting your partner's feelings and boundaries, and respecting your own enough to enforce them. A healthy relationship should never cost you your peace of mind.
And I want to add the importance of self-love and maintaining your own identity. Don't lose yourself in a relationship or situationship. Keep your hobbies, your friends, your passions. A partner should complement your life, not become your entire life.
That is so crucial. A strong sense of self is the best anchor you can have in this sometimes stormy seas of dating and relationships.
It's your anchor.
Speaking of anchors, a strong sense of self is also what helps you navigate some of the other really challenging behaviors that have become common in modern dating. I'm thinking specifically about things like ghosting. It's a term we hear all the time, but it's a deeply painful experience. All right, as we wrap up, let's summarize the key takeaways. The dating world can be ambiguous, but your needs don't have to be.
Yes, first, understand what you truly want. Second, don't be afraid to communicate that with kindness and clarity. And third, know that you are worthy of the love and commitment you desire, and don't be afraid to walk away from situations that don't honor that.
Perfectly said, Georgia. Thank you so much for another wonderful conversation. And thank you to all of you for listening to Love Notes. We hope this has brought a little clarity and encouragement to your heart.
It was a pleasure. Be good to yourselves out there.
Join us next time as we explore the topic of love languages and how they can transform your connections. Until then, take care.